Welcome to Joe Brooks at the Helm, the podcast where we dive into the vibrant world of art, one artist at a time. I'm your host, Joe Brooks. I'll be talking with talented artists from all corners of the industry. We'll explore their unique journeys, uncover the stories behind their creativity, and learn about the experiences that have shaped their artistic paths. Whether you're an art enthusiast, an inspiring creative, or simply curious about the lives behind the masterpieces, you're in the right place. Join me as we navigate through the world of art, guided by the voices of those who live and breathe it. Hello, Greg Bailey.
Hello, Joe Brooks.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We are in your delicious lavender-themed room,
We are indeed.
lavender-coloured room, with your incredible show,
thank you.
Lavender Boy.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about why you called it Lavender Boy?
I certainly can. So I was struggling to come up with a name. I was going to go for my standard one, which is All Right, Darling, like my book, magazine, podcast. I thought, let's try something new. So I was having a think, and I remember my nan saying something to me once when we were driving somewhere when I was
What's
younger.
your nan's name?
Brenda.
Nice
Brenda
name.
Bailey.
Go on, Brenda.
Yeah, go on, Bren. Nanny Bren. And we drove past a group of men, and she was like, "Oh, look at those Lavender Boys." And I was instantly like,
Sorry?
"What's that, Nan?" And she said, "Oh, homosexuals." I was like, "Oh, that's a good name for gay guys." So it just stuck with me. I wasn't sure if she was potentially being offensive or it was endearing, but I didn't want to ask at the time because it wasn't out.
Yeah.
Didn't want to draw attention to myself.
How old were you at that point?
Oh, I must have been about 12, 13. Yeah, so
On the cusp.
On the cusp.
Yeah.
Well, I was there, but
Yeah.
like, yeah. But yeah, it just stuck with me, and I was like, well, I thought it was a really lovely term, so it stayed. But also, lavender in the hanky code is code for you're attracted to drag queens. So
I
it just
did not
sort
know
of
that.
blended quite nicely.
What is hanky code for anyone that doesn't
Well,
know?
babe. Are you aware of what hanky code is?
I am,
You are, of course you
for
are.
people that aren't aware.
So hanky code was popularized in like 1970s New York, I think it was. And you would wear a hanky, depending on the color, it would kind of signify what you're interested in sexually. So yeah, lavender is for interest in drag queens, or if you wear it on the other side, it's you are a drag queen. I just thought,
why not?
That's camp.
And has Nanny Bren been to the show?
She hasn't been to the show.
Nanny
No,
Bren.
I know. Come on, Bren.
Come on.
Yeah, but
well, she's got a few more weeks because you're on until the beginning of September. So
yeah,
let's hope she can come
Fingers
down
crossed.
and see the Lavender Boy in action.
Yeah, considering because of her, the name. So yeah, she better come.
Good on Nanny Bren. Well, let's take you back to 12 or 13.
Okay.
You grew up in Kent.
I did indeed.
Correct?
Yeah.
And I believe you went to quite an unusual school. Do you want to tell us about your experience there?
Did,
Greg?
yeah. So I very dyslexic as a kid. So I got enrolled into a Steiner school, which is just a really cool, holistic, artful.
Some would say cult.
Some would say, have you seen Midsummer?
Yes.
It's very that.
Yeah.
It's
so did you wear
dancing
the
around
daisy chain?
Absolutely, dancing around the maypole
With an
great.
axe or without an axe?
No, the axe was kind of put to one side.
Low
and
level.
Exactly, and no one jumped off any cliffs or anything. It was the elders could
And was
stay.
this in Canterbury, in Kent?
Just outside Canterbury, yeah,
Okay.
in Chilham. Yeah, it was lovely. It was just a really cool, holistic place, really small classes, and the focus was art, really. So I always knew I wanted to be an artist.
What did the shape of the day? What was the sort of school day in a Steiner school? Because they're renowned for being quite
odd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say odd,
but yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Well, you would obviously they have to stick to some sort of curriculum, so you'd still do like maths, English, science, stuff like that. But you would do other classes like eurythmy, which is like a movement dance sort of lesson. And so Annie Lennox went to a Steiner school.
Hence
eurythmics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd have some odd ones thrown in there.
What kind of dance did you do? What?
Oh, babe. it was more movement than dance, but like so if you did I had to put on a show after doing kind of months of rehearsals and stuff, you'd have to wear like these white flowy sort of robes, and every now and then you'd have to have like a copper rod that you'd balance on your head and just kind of it help with posture. It was fabulous.
I mean,
Yeah,
this is just like a day-to-day lesson.
absolutely. Yeah, you could
Just hopping on the
actually,
white robe with a copper rod.
of course. Yeah, come on, don't they do that everywhere? But you could actually do a GCSE in it.
In the
In eurythmy.
eurythmy,
I didn't do it. I went and smoked instead. But like, yeah, eurythmy, yeah, odd.
What else happened in the Steiner School that stood out?
Um, it was more just like how they approached teaching. It was just really hands-on, and like because it was small classes, your teacher just got to know you. So
Yeah.
she just knew what you needed as a student, which was really cool. I think where it was quite a small school, like growing up as a queer kid, that can be a little alienating because you're already at school, you're going to get kids get bullied.
Yeah.
But like,
Did you experience a bit of
yeah,
bullying?
yeah, of course. And like, I don't think the kids understood why they were bullying me.
Right.
I didn't know why they were bullying me. But I remember there was a teacher called Mr. Bennett who was my maths teacher. And
Not the copper rod teacher.
not the copper rod teacher, no.
Fair.
That was Mr. Klatsko. No.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, he was lovely too. But no, yeah, he held me back in class one time. I was like, oh fuck, what have I done? But he'd obviously just noticed I've been being bullied. And he just said to me,
Were you upset or you didn't?
I would have been.
Bit off colour.
But like, yeah, like it was just, you just kind of got on with it. Like,
yeah,
you kind of like, I don't know why they're bullying me, but I kind of know why they're bullying me. But he said something to me. He was just like, "Oh, I just want you to know, Greg, that like when you're a bit older, maybe when you're in college, people will celebrate you for who you are."
And was this before section?
This was during Section 28.
Section 28.
Yeah, where you could like teachers couldn't talk about
weren't allowed to talk about it openly, right?
At all.
Difficult for teachers as well at that time, wasn't it?
Yeah,
not being able to be honest.
Well, especially in like a Steiner school where everything's very
was,
But no, so that was tricky for him to do as well. Like,
what a brave guy.
Yeah, and I think because like after I left, it came out that he came out, and yeah, like he was like this older guy. He ended up like having to change his entire life. He had family and everything, so obviously that's horrific. But yeah, I kind of understood a bit more. I was like, oh, he clearly sees something.
So he basically said to you, "There's a reason why.
Yeah, there's a reason why
this is happening.
When you're older, you'll be celebrated for being yourself, being gay, being queer."
Right.
Yeah, without actually using the words, because he would have got into trouble.
And you obviously felt.
Oh, I had no idea what he was talking about. I was just like, okay.
Why is Mr. Bennett talking
all right,
to
Mr.
me?
Bennett, you weirdo. But yeah, it wasn't until later on I was like, oh.
Yeah.
He knew I was a gayer. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So after Steiner, you went off to art college. I mean,
I did.
A Kent lad. There wasn't massive opportunities in the art world in Kent, were there? I mean,
not really.
Yeah.
There was. So I went to CIAD, which was the Kent Institute of Art and Design, which I think is now UCA or UCCA or something, to do fine art, because I knew I wanted to be an artist, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do.
It happens to a lot of people. It's not just you. You kind of go into fine art to find where
you're going,
where you settle. Yeah.
Yeah. But went there. It was amazing. That's where.
What happened when you walked in? Did you think?
Well, there was gays everywhere, so that was great.
I've arrived.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, I'm not the only one.
Who stood out for you in those early days?
So there was this amazing artist called Lindsay, and she was just the tallest, biggest butch lesbian I've ever seen, and I love
Amazonian.
her. Yeah, she was amazing, and she was dating someone called Clara, and I can't remember the other guy's name. Like, I feel really bad, but he was just the fruitiest guy ever, and I just thought, I want to hang around with you guys.
Yeah.
it was just really nice to kind of
Yeah.
feel like you were finally found your tribe, I
Yeah, I
suppose. But
suppose. Yeah, for one of a better word.
yeah,
But so you quickly formed a friendship with this group,
yes,
and
yeah,
then decided to explore all avenues of art, I guess.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was doing kind of all the things you do, kind of painting, sculpture, all of it. But I had a bit of a fascination with America's Next Top Model at the time.
This
Yeah,
explains a lot, Greg.
I know,
Hence
I know. Hence this
where
stuff.
we are. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Um,
who sort of like did anyone push you towards that, or it just happened to be
well,
on telly at the time?
my dad noticed how much I was watching it, so he was just like,
Greg.
"Greg, would you like to be a noted fashion photographer like Nigel Barker?" I was like, "Well, yes, I would."
Now
So
you've said it.
yeah, so I for one of my projects, I just took my friend Ella out for a walk as we did with our dogs,
Hmm.
and just took my camera, dressed her up a bit, and just took loads of pictures.
Tied the dogs up.
Tied the dogs up, yeah, yeah. Took loads of pictures.
Safety first.
It's safety first, babe. Absolutely, yeah. And that's like my first sort of like, oh, this is kind of a direction I like.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
So,
then obviously you were still at Canterbury.
still at Canterbury.
So you went, right, I'm going to go photography now.
I did, yeah, and
Yeah.
I did a few more projects at Kayad, and just kind of in that general direction, and ended up going to London College of Fashion to do
Okay.
fashion styling and photography.
An amazing institute.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Loved it.
And you were at the Oxford Street
I was,
campus.
yeah, and
In the heady days of Topshop.
yes, ended up working for Topshop as well. But
Did
yeah,
you?
yeah,
There you go.
yeah. But yeah, the Oxford Street one was amazing. There was also the campus that is now the Elizabeth Line Bond Street thing.
All amazing locations
it was
in
incredible.
fashion photography.
Yeah, literally Bond Street, Oxford Street. Perfect.
And what did you learn from those days? What did they kind of
Well,
focus on?
You kind of went into it expecting you expected to know photography, and I came from a fine art sort of thing and just stumbled into it, so I didn't really get taught the
technicalities. Yeah,
nothing like that. But I got accepted into this course, so I was like, well, okay, I'm obviously doing something right.
What did your final degree show look like when you left? So what
left Kayad or left LCF?
Left Kayad, yeah.
Kayad. That was a weird mix, because I decided to look into like trick photography, but blending it with Photoshop, so it wasn't just in camera stuff. But I had like people crawling out of TVs and very The Grudge.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, like climbing out of Chester drawer. Think of Gwen Stefani's video. Oh, what's the song? Her first sort of one where it was like really John Galliano-esque.
I'm Just a Girl?
No, what you waiting for?
What you waiting for?
That one. It was very Alice in Wonderland-y sort of thing. That was very of the time.
Did you have a fascination with that kind of film?
I did indeed.
Because I believe you've got a bit of a favourite film you want to talk about, haven't you?
I do. It's Labyrinth.
We will
Absolutely
love Labyrinth.
love Labyrinth. Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, that sort of vibe. But yeah, it was
not Fraggle Rock.
Not Fraggle Rock. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'll probably pop it on when I get home. But yeah.
And what was particular about Labyrinth? Did you?
What do you think, Joe?
David Bowie?
Was it David Bowie's crutch? Yes, it was.
Those tights were quite
tight.
revealing, weren't they, in that film?
They were.
Yeah. And the wig was particularly good.
The wig was amazing. Yeah. But like it was, I think, gay, straight, whatever, like David Bowie's crutch in the Labyrinth was just like like you couldn't look at anything else.
Oh, bless him.
Bless him.
Bless him. So that was a big inspiration to you, David Bowie's
crutch.
crutch.
Yeah. I think that, but also just how camp it was.
Yeah.
Like it was so camp.
And people kind of just didn't realise it was camp, did they? They just like paid their money at the cinema and went, this is like a fantasy film. But
I'm like, it's high pure camp.
Yeah.
And like it just kind of like I feel like it bleeds into everything, and a lot of people don't know what camp is, and which is fine, but it's quite hard to define. But I think, Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, all those sorts of things just sort of seeped into what I love.
Yeah. So you're now in the London College of Fashion.
Yep.
And what did that look like for you? How did you sort of?
It was an interesting one, because it was super fun. I didn't live up in London. I was commuting from Kent, where I'm from, like not every day, but nearly every day.
Yeah.
I never lived there, so that was a nice kind of balance.
You could leave it behind. And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get taught like the technical side of things. So that was always something which I've held on to, you know, as a bit of a insecurity, I suppose. But at the same time,
So a bit of a power, actually.
this is it. It just
Yeah.
comes naturally. So
Yeah.
that's pretty camp.
You don't. Well, yeah, the campness is there, but you
Yeah.
don't have to like go into a photographic situation and think I need to look at the light for 5 hours.
Oh, fuck
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just know what you like, and you
yeah,
go ahead and
it's
shoot
trial and
these
error.
incredible.
It's
Yeah.
trial and error. That's all it really comes down to. It's just fun. But yeah, it was a really great experience. I had some great times there, got brilliant nights out, met some cool people. Got to photograph Nena, who was on one of the first seasons of America's Next Top Model. So that was a nice little.
Wow, what an incredible moment.
I know, yeah, proper full circle.
And how did that come about?
The college the uni just organised a shoot, get models sorted for you. I don't think they knew who they were booking.
No.
And I just walked in and I was,
you were like,
my
whoa.
God, well, she's going to know what she's doing. She's been taught by Tyra Banks. So that was pretty cool.
Did you tell her at the time that you were a big fan of the show?
I did, and like we met up a couple of times, went for sushi, and you know that sort of stuff, and it was great. Yeah, friends with Nena Akbar.
There you go. A muse.
Yes.
So you leave London College of Fashion, and then what happens to you in your career next, Greg?
I kind of took a bit of a break, actually. It took a couple of years just because I do love the fashion industry, but especially back then it was very 50-50. You had kind of, you know, your lovies, your darlings, your sweeties and everything, which I was definitely, you know.
You're in that kind of section.
And then you had the very intimidating sort of side of things. And
well, it was incredibly male then, wasn't it?
Yes,
fashion photography.
It was.
Yeah. You know, all of the big photographers were guys, but quite butch guys, weren't they? Yeah.
Butch, straight. And I was like, that's not me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just felt a bit intimidating in a world which I was like, I don't know if I want this.
Yeah.
So just took a step back. I just started a relationship. I was like, I'll see how this goes. And just took a bit of a break, really. But it wasn't until Drag Race came along in 2009, I think it was. I was like, ooh.
You were an early adopter.
I was indeed. Yeah, season one. Yeah, that very blurry filter they had on it.
This was the American one at this point.
American one.
Hadn't hit the UK shore.
Yeah, UK was years later in the end. But yeah, it was just really camp and fabulous, and it's like, oh, I'd love to work with someone from this show. And it was on. I started talking to Raja, who was the winner of season 3. Because back then you could just drop them a message on Facebook, and
I mean, how incredible that they responded.
They would
at that
answer.
Point.
Well, it's because there wasn't the big explosion of drag yet, so it was.
It was
easy.
kind of underground, but not underground. I suppose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was kind of like just bubbling up. But it was Willem on season 4 who I also reached out to, who just happened to be coming to London. So I was like, oh well, would you like your picture taken? And she said yes. And it just sort of snowballed after that. She recommended me to like Manila, Jinx Monsoon. It just kept on going. So.
And do you remember that shoot in
I
particular?
I do remember that shoot. It
where was it? In London? Or?
It was in, I think it was called the Imperial Hotel. There was nothing imperial about it. It was rough.
Apart from the soap.
Yeah, apart from the soap.
Yeah.
It was really fun. We just went to a hotel room. I was working for a little boutique in Brighton at the time, so I borrowed some clothes. They didn't know I borrowed some clothes, but you know,
they don't need to know.
Yeah, they found out. A Gucci coat kind of it came back, but like
fair.
Yeah, a Gucci coat I took with me. So when they saw that online, they're like, Greg. But yeah, just dressed Willem up in the hotel room. Yeah, it was really fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then from that photograph, she obviously
recommended me and just said, if you're ever in London or Brighton, just reach out to Greg and he'll take a good picture.
Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then it literally snowballed.
It did. It was a weird one because a lot of people think I would have probably started local, working with local performers and everything, and then.
But you actually started from the States and bought it.
Exactly. Yeah. I thought, why not? Let's do it that way. And I actually met some of my closest friends by doing that. So a shoot I did with Jinx Jinx Monsoon,
Mm.
she had two friends just with her, got talking to them, and it was Joe and his partner Aaron, who happen to
Incredible.
live in Brighton. And yeah, been friends since. It's been great.
Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, so Jinx Monsoon almost kind of enrolled me into the drag scene in Brighton.
Mm.
Thank you, Jinx.
And then obviously you kept taking photographs of those people, and then I believe you started your own magazine.
I did indeed,
Do you want to tell
yeah.
us a little bit about that?
So it was 2014, 15, I think it was.
Because let's rewind a little bit. You were
Yes.
trying to get your photography
Trying
into
very hard.
the gay press,
Mhm.
but with not much success.
No luck.
Is that right?
No luck. Like at the time, it was just kind of buff guys. That's all they wanted on the cover.
It was very formulaic, wasn't it? Sort of
Yeah,
gay
like
times,
circuit
attitude.
queens sort of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like
There was no
cool.
drag at all, was there? At
Not
that point?
really.
No.
Like you would get kind of like Jodie Harsh maybe inside the magazine or something,
Yeah.
but never on the front
They
cover.
were more set features rather than
Yeah, which I understand, but
Mm.
I was just like, come on, take a risk.
yeah.
This is going to be really big.
And it was big
It
then.
was, yeah, it was getting huge. And it's
Yeah.
like, come on. But yeah, they just weren't. No one was biting, so I just thought, make my own, which sounds really kind of like it was coming from a privileged position, but it wasn't. Like I started everything as a pre-order sort of thing, so there was nothing there, and I was like, well, I'll take your money, I'll make it, and then I'll deliver it, which worked.
Yeah.
And I put Willem on the front cover because Willem was angling for a cover in one of these magazines,
And
so
couldn't get
anywhere. It, so I made it.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Create your own covers.
Exactly. Yeah, create your own work. And yeah, I just kept on putting issues out. I noticed that one of the publications that was a big no from the start, saying they didn't want any drag on the cover, was buying every issue. Don't think they realised I was the one posting them all out. Yeah, buying every issue.
Theme tune.
Yeah, sing the theme tune.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was posting them all out, so I knew who was buying them. And not very long into it, there was a redesign of this person's magazine.
And this is a national magazine.
Yeah, looked very, very similar to mine.
Yeah.
Very similar, which I'd take as a compliment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just hire me.
Just sort of phoned us.
Just give it, like, come on, give me a job.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
But it's good that you, as a person and a photographer, changed that attitude. Not saying it was Attitude magazine.
It wasn't Attitude.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
But you kind of forged that style on them, whether it was good or bad for you at the time.
And I'm
you
sure
definitely
it was
changed their viewpoint. Yeah.
I'm sure that it was like a culmination of many people. It wasn't just me, but like I like that it changed. And now it's opened up opportunities for many other
So you have to see that as an achievement.
It is. Yeah. It is.
Annoying
Didn't
at the time. No, it never is at the time. But,
no.
But you kind of got to go past that to
Yeah. Yeah. Look back on it with fondness rather than hatred.
Hatred and annoyance.
Yeah.
So the magazine is running. And then what's next for you, Greg?
Well, I managed to get the magazine into a few kind of places around the world, which was pretty cool. One of them was Magma, which they've got a shop in Covent Garden, Manchester. They used to have. Don't know if it's still there.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, it got into Magma, which was really cool because that was the bookshop I was told to go to at uni to get all my magazines and stuff.
Incredible.
So I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the one of the editors, King Publishing, because apparently Lawrence King Publishing and Magma kind of linked, saw my magazine and was like, oh, we're going to reach out to him. And it was about a game they were making called Game of Queens.
Okay.
Which is
here.
There. Yeah. And it's kind of like a top trumps sort of thing. So I got to pick all the queens. I got to write everything, write all the bios. It was super fun. And I kind of used that as leverage to a degree.
Yeah.
Once that was done, I said, oh, well, I'm a photographer, as you can see. And I've got hundreds of pictures just sat on my laptop, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it's a book
Ready
ready
made.
to go.
Ready to go, yeah.
Literally, I just need to, write a bit at the front and get someone to do the foreword, which was pretty cool. Got Alaska. But it's ready to go. And they just said yes. So I managed to get a book out of it as well.
It's incredible, isn't it?
No, it was very strange.
How did you feel when you saw that on the bookshelves?
I cried my eyes out.
Actually, Mr. Bennett. Do you think Mr. Bennett's got a copy? Do you reckon he has?
I hope
Don't
so.
cry.
I'm trying not to. That would be great. If he's still alive. He was an old guy, but if he is, I'll try and track him down and send him a
He'd
copy.
be doing the maths on how much you've made.
yeah. I'll hire him as my accountant. Come on, Mr. Bennett.
And then from this, you did this book as well.
Yeah, so I did another card game with Lawrence King Publishing called Drag Match.
Yeah.
I didn't photograph it, but it was a great photographer called Gerard, and it was basically matching the queens in and out of drag.
Oh my God.
I know, so cool. Yeah, you got like Lawrence Chaney in there. You've got Joe. You've got a lot. So I did the writing for that, and then my contact at Lawrence King moved to Quarto Publishing, and that's how I got into doing Drag Tales, which is a drag cocktail book.
As you do.
As you do.
As you do.
As you do. You might as well. Yeah, it's natural progression.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I know everyone's going to want to know, who are your top 3 drag queens? Because I'm sure, you photographed a lot of these incredible looking people.
There's so many I've worked with that are just great humans. Love them all. But I would say my favourite picture I've taken is the one of Raja smoking. This one here, yeah. That was just really fun. She's become a friend. And
what stood out about that particular shoot that you thought,
Well, for me, it was the story behind it, because we were photographing backstage at the Black Cap in Camden, which was like an iconic drag bar, which is now gone, unfortunately. But there was a bomb scare, which no one else knew about. So there was a queue of people trying to get in, but obviously were turned away. But everyone inside had no idea what was going on. So there's me, Raja, and the rest of the kind of drag people there knowing what's happening, and just go for a ciggy.
Yeah, just wait outside
till
it calms down.
Yeah, till it calms down. So I was taking a picture during a bomb scare, which was kind of odd, but so that's why it stands out to me. But also, it's just I think it's just a good picture, to be honest.
Brilliant.
It's just
absolutely brilliant.
I don't think it matters if you know who she is or anything. It just she's just styled herself perfectly, and I managed to capture it. I would say another person I've worked with who was a bit of a full circle moment. They're not a drag queen, but Amanda Lepore was. That was amazing because her portraits by David LaChapelle.
They're iconic, aren't they?
They're impeccable. And the main reason why I kind of pivoted from doing fashiony, so I suppose this is fashion, but do you know what I mean? Kind of more into
more
queer
into
portraits and stuff. Was David's pictures of Amanda. So getting to photograph Amanda was just
incredible.
Yeah. That
Pinch
one,
me moment.
Yeah, that one I did, not in the moment, but I did cry afterwards.
Did you?
Of course.
Excellent.
Yeah. I was literally just walking back to the tube being like, oh my God. Yeah.
Who's your third?
Who's my third? Jeez. You know what? I think Juno Birch.
Okay.
So there's one picture in here of Juno, but I've worked with Juno quite a few times. And she's primarily a YouTube queen, obsessed with The Sims, and that's what she mainly YouTubes. But she's also an incredible performer, trans woman, paints herself completely blue like an alien.
Yeah.
And she's just she's like a Tim Burton character, kind of the same sort of shape, head as the one in Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
Just so she is art.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to work more with her, which I'm definitely going to.
And finally, Greg, who would you like to photograph in the future? Is there anyone that you think, I'd quite like that's sort of standing out for you? Not necessarily from the drag community, but just in general.
Someone who I reached out to, who was doing a tour of Mother Goose. I know, yeah, I know. Yeah.
No, I expected you to
No,
say.
no one was, yeah. But Ian McKellen was,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
And I would,
So as a Dame,
as a Dame Ian McKellen,
yes.
wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, like literally
How would you style him
well,
or
get
her?
some face tape on there, first of all.
Definitely. Pull it up.
Pull it up.
Come on, Ian.
Yeah, come on, babe.
Pull it back.
Yeah, pull it back, Ian. Yeah, I'd quite like to photograph him in kind of like an old Hollywood 1950s sort of thing.
Sort of Lana Turner-esque.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Exactly. It would just suit.
Possibly with a cigarette.
Oh, absolutely, with a cigarette. Yeah, got to.
Standing up or lying down?
Lying down.
Definitely.
Might not be able to get back up, but like, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Greg.
No worries.
This show's on till the 1st of September.
It is indeed.
So if you haven't seen it, then come on down.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.